Hello YouTube, this is going to be my review of the Cold Steel Tuff Lite. And first we'll start with a size comparison. Got a full-size Victorinox Swiss Army knife. And one of its competitors. This is the Spyderco Delica. Okay, let's get right into it. Some good things and some bad things about this knife, mostly good. Zoom back a little bit here. The first thing is the size of the knife and the size of the blade. The blade is 2.5 inches, just under 2.5 inches total, with a 2-inch usable area, so it's legal just about everywhere, even in Chicago. But yet, it uses part of the blade, this last choil here, so that you can get a full grip. So normally a handle this size would not really let you get a comfortable 4-finger grip on it. But since you choke up a little bit normally, you get a full fingered grip with this knife. So that's good. And then you can turbo choke, which instead of having your index finger in that front one, you put your middle finger and then have your index finger on the tip for fine detail work. So for example, if you put your finger here and then you cut into a box just to cut tape, for example, that will limit the depth of the cut. So you got turbo choke, regular choke. This is not really an option. It leaves the pinky hanging awkwardly. So now this can be opened, of course, the normal way with the thumb, or it can be opened with a snap of the wrist. It doesn't seem like you would be able to because it's a tight back lock. But if you have your technique right, which is hard to do while sitting down, just give it a good snap, then it's no problem. The blade is Warncliffe or a sheep's foot. It's actually somewhere in between there. Usually I think of a Warncliffe being a little bit sharper point and a sheep's foot being a little bit duller. So this is kind of in between a Warncliffe and a sheep's foot. But since it's a straight edge, you don't get as much cutting length because it has no belly. But on the other hand, it's very easy to sharpen. When you're sharpening it, you don't want to roll it like you normally would. You want to just keep it flat the whole time so you don't round off that nice tip. The tip is actually pretty decently sharp, so you could do some fine detail work with that. Another nice thing about this is if you have a deep watch pocket, the knife is small enough that you can put this in your watch pocket and you don't have to take up any real estate in your hip pocket. So that's kind of nice. When you do put it in your hip pocket, if you're right-handed and this choiling, what happens is the knife is kind of wide. It's a couple inches wide. But this choiling on the back of the blade kind of digs into your hand. When you reach into your pocket, it kind of abrades your hand a little bit. It's not terrible or anything, but you definitely notice it's not smooth like for example, if you were wearing a Delica right-handed, you would just have this nice smooth curve. Another nice thing about it is that you get a really good grip, but it doesn't look stabby. So when people see you with that, I don't think it'll seem as scary. So if you're around knife mongols a lot, then it might be good for that. It's available in different colors. Got the normal black, blue, red. I think there's also yellow and orange. I decided to get blue. All the rest of my knives are black or gray or something without any color. I decided to have a little fun with this one. A 6-year-old can open it. Come in here and demonstrate here, Stanzi. My daughter wanted to show you that it can even be friendly for smaller kids. She's putting her other knives away. Okay, show me. Keep your hands here so we stay on camera. Yeah, good. So, now it's got the Cold Steel Triad lock, which is it's pretty tight. You can still close it with one hand though, an adult can. You had to push full force with your thumb, get the blade moving, and then get your fingers out of the way and snap it closed. Or more realistically, you would choke back, push it in, and then push this against your pant leg just to get it going, and then get your fingers out of the way and push it the rest of the way closed against your pant leg. One thing I would say is that they could improve, everybody complains about this, but it's tip down. I don't need all 4 options. This is ambidextrous tip down, but I would like it to be tip up ambidextrous. Just get rid of this and move this up here somehow and make it tip up. That would make it so much more handy, and it would also make it so that when it's in the hip pocket of a right-handed person, this is nice and smooth against your hand. I'm thinking of flipping this over to the lefty side so that when I wear it on the inside of my right pocket, I have that smooth part that'll go against my hand when I stick it in my pocket. Another thing about this, I'll zoom in a little bit for this, the quality, the execution quality and the build quality is just excellent. The grind is perfectly even on both sides. It has this nice design feature here. Right in front of that finger choil, it's a part that sticks up a little bit and it's rounded off, which is really good because when you're choking up, if you're doing any kind of hard cutting, your finger could easily slip up there. And I've seen a lot of knives with that forward choil that don't have this little blunt knob here. So this knife is not gonna let you cut yourself unless you're really negligent. Other little details that I like, inside the holes for the pocket clip, there's threaded steel inserts. You're not trying to, tighten your screws into hard plastic and worry about stripping them out. So this is like, wow, at this price point. This is a $30 knife, and it's got better fit and finish than a $60 or $70 knife. Spyderco is no slouch either, but there's little things like on the back of the handle here. If you look at it, you can see it's not exactly even. There's 2 seams there. On the back of this one here, at the same spot, there's only 1 seam, and it's a lot more even. So that's well done. The deployment hole here, the edge is broken just enough so that it never feels abrasive or sharp. For example, on the Spyderco Delica, this is kind of the benchmark for comfortable everyday carry, good quality, but the inside edge of the spider hole is kind of sharp. It's not to the point where it's going to cut you, but it's definitely abrasive. Maybe they did that so that it's grippy when you're deploying it, but I have to say I prefer the execution on the cold steel. They really did a good job on that. For the future, just a couple suggestions for cold steel. Everybody seems to like this. Not everybody likes a Wharncliffe blade. So maybe make this in some kind of a blade with a belly, either a drop point or a clip point or a reverse tanto, something like that, so that you have more options. This is useful, but you don't get a lot of sharp edge for the length of the blade. So just something to think about. And also, in general, cold steel, a lot of your knives are kind of stabby, murdery, huge blades, not really much utility value. This one really broke the mold. It's got utility value, it's comfortable, it's sturdy, it's affordable, and it doesn't look murdery. It's something you could actually have as a tool knife or an everyday knife without feeling like a mall ninja. So that's one other suggestion. So tip up, different blade shapes offer more knives in general that are just not murdery. Really, I give this a 10 out of 10. And this right now, at the time of this video, these are going for 30 bucks. These are going for 75. And this is equal or better quality. Now, one quick thing, the blade steel. I gotta be fair that the Spyderco has a little bit harder blade steel. It's a VG10 compared to the AUS 8A. Now, it's worth noting that the AUS 8A, especially as executed by cold steel, they do a really good job of hardening it, and the A suffix means that it's annealed. So it's not just a typical AUS 8. It's a little better, and they've done an excellent job of hardening it. So I don't mind that, If we're real with ourselves, can you really say that the AUS 8A is not hard enough for your use? No, not really. This is harder, but realistically it doesn't need to be that hard. And especially if you compare it to something like the ever popular Swiss Army knife, these are something like 54, 55 Rockwell, and this is probably more like about 58. So it's a good bit harder than a Swiss Army knife steel, although it's not quite as hard as a 61C super steel. So I have no complaints there. And again, for the money, 30 bucks versus 75 bucks, you're getting a lot more for your money here. And in real everyday use, it's, 90% as good. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.